Based on real events, the story behind The Conjuring is far more disturbing than most people imagine. In the early 1970s, the Perron family moved into a 14-room farmhouse in Harrisville, Rhode Island, hoping for a quiet life in the countryside. But what they found was something far from peace. What began as small, strange occurrences soon spiraled into a terrifying ordeal, one that would forever mark their lives and inspire one of the most chilling horror films in modern cinema. Roger and Carolyn Perron moved into the home with their 5 daughters, Andrea, Nancy, Christine, Cindy, and April. At first, it was just the little things, doors creaking open, objects going missing, or the faint sound of whispers when no one else was around. The children would speak of seeing shadowy figures, feeling watched, and hearing unexplainable footsteps in the hallways. At first, Carolyn thought the disturbances were harmless, maybe just the quirks of an old house. But the energy in the home began to change. It became heavier, more oppressive. One of the first deeply unsettling incidents involved Carolyn waking up to a woman standing at the foot of her bed, a figure dressed in an old-fashioned black dress, her head tilted unnaturally to one side, eyes fixed on her with deep hatred. The apparition then vanished, but the fear lingered. Soon, Carolyn began researching the history of the house. What she uncovered would only deepen her dread. The farmhouse had a long and troubled history. Built in 1736, it had seen generations come and go, but also a series of inexplicable tragedies. Several children had drowned in nearby bodies of water. One man had been found dead in the attic, his death ruled a suicide. Others had gone missing or died under strange circumstances. But the name that would become most closely tied to the Perron haunting was Bathsheba Sherman. Bathsheba was a woman rumored to have lived in the house in the 1800s. According to local legends, and some murky historical accounts, Bathsheba was accused of practicing witchcraft. One of the most horrifying claims was that she had sacrificed her own baby to the devil. Though there was never a conviction, the townspeople feared her. After her death, it was said that her spirit remained tied to the land, angry and vengeful. The Perron family believed she was the one tormenting them. The attacks intensified. Carolyn would often wake up with mysterious bruises, scratches, or needle-like punctures on her skin. She became increasingly withdrawn, erratic, as if something was feeding on her energy. Objects flew across rooms without explanation. Furniture moved on its own. Foul smells, of rotting flesh and sulfur, would suddenly fill the air. The girls were pushed, slapped, even dragged from their beds. One night, the family witnessed a chair levitate and slam into the floor. It was no longer just a haunting, it was a siege. Desperate and terrified, the parents reached out to 2 people who had already become infamous in the world of paranormal investigation, Ed and Lorraine Warren. The Warrens were a husband and wife team, Ed a demonologist, Lorraine a clairvoyant and medium. When they arrived at the farmhouse, Lorraine immediately sensed a dark presence. She later claimed that the energy there was unlike anything she had ever felt before. The Warrens conducted a series of investigations over several months. According to their accounts, the house was infested with multiple spirits, but Bathsheba's was the most powerful and dangerous. They believed she had cursed the land, sacrificing her soul to Satan and vowing to torment anyone who dared to live on her property. Ed Warren would later describe the Perron case as one of the most disturbing they ever encountered. During one of their attempts to help the family, the Warrens conducted what has often been mischaracterized as an exorcism. According to Andrea Perron, the eldest daughter, it was more like a seance. Lorraine tried to reach out to the spirits and persuade them to leave. But something went horribly wrong. Carolyn appeared to be overtaken by an invisible force, speaking in strange languages, her body convulsing violently. Roger Perron, terrified that his wife would be killed, demanded the Warrens leave and never return. The family continued to live in the farmhouse for several years after the Warrens' departure. The haunting didn't stop entirely, but the worst of it seemed to pass. In 1980, they finally moved out. Years later, Andrea Perron would publish a series of books detailing her family's experiences, titled House of Darkness, House of Light, which would eventually catch the attention of filmmakers. In 2013, director James Wan brought their story to the big screen with The Conjuring. Though the film took creative liberties, as horror films often do, much of its core is rooted in the Perron family's real-life trauma. Ed and Lorraine Warren, who had also investigated the infamous Amityville case, were portrayed with reverence, cementing their status as icons of the paranormal world. But perhaps what makes the Perron case so enduring, and so terrifying, is not just the supernatural claims, but the emotional reality of a family who lived for nearly a decade in fear. Whether you believe in ghosts, demons, or the power of suggestion, the Perron family truly believed they were under attack by something beyond understanding. Something ancient. Something evil, and maybe that's what makes this story so haunting. Because it isn't just about flickering lights or doors slamming shut. It's about the slow, creeping erosion of safety in your own home, the place where you're supposed to feel most protected. For the Perrons, that sanctuary became a prison of fear. Today, the house in Harrisville still stands. It has changed owners several times, and each has reported their own share of unexplained events. Paranormal investigators continue to visit, hoping to capture evidence of what the Perrons endured. And as long as people tell their story, the spirit of Bathsheba, and the horror that inspired The Conjuring, will never truly rest.